It was approaching 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and Chu Shenming felt dazed and gloomy. I don't know what happened recently. In the afternoon, he was dizzy. He checked Baidu and found out that there was something wrong with him. In the end, he had no choice but to close all the web pages, thinking of going to the hospital to have a look. In the small community hospital, there are still quite a few people, most of whom are elderly people whose legs and feet are already inconvenient. The nurses wore blue and whitish overalls, and their hair was tied up. All of them looked good. Chu Shenming took a few peeks at the nurse at the pre-diagnosis desk. She was really pretty, with very light makeup, almost no signs of deliberate grooming. Compared with the overdressed women in the company, the nurses are really sweet and pleasant. The personality also looks gentle and easygoing, and a few honey-like voices can be heard from a distance. Darling, if you find a nurse as your girlfriend, you will be happy for a while. Looking at what? One of the little nurses asked. Nurse Lu, I feel dizzy and feel uncomfortable. After looking at the name tag on his chest, Chu Shenming happily called out the other party's name. Nurse Lu Tian, your name sounds really nice. Let him go to the physical and mental department. The slightly fatter nurse beside him said casually. She didn't even look at Chu Shenming, and kept looking at her phone with her head down. Psychology. Lu Tian frowned. Chu Shenming also squeezed out a few wrinkles. Give him the outpatient appointment number and let him go. If he doesn't go, he will be off work. The nurse at the side was called Li Xiaomei. She had good facial features, but she was a bit fat. She couldn't tell how exquisite she was in a nurse's uniform anyway, but her fat body couldn't hide it. Don't you need to check your temperature or something? I'm dizzy, my throat is a little itchy, and my stomach is still bloated. That's right, you go to the physical and mental department to find Dr. Mu. Go up the stairs to the 5th floor, the innermost consulting room. Don't take the elevator can't reach the 5th floor, only the 4th floor. Chu Shenming stepped on the stairs reluctantly, still thinking about Lu Tianatian's small cherry mouth, which was really small, the most delicate mouth he had ever seen in his life. When Chu Shenming reached the 3rd floor, he felt that his body was getting worse and worse, and he began to pant heavily when he walked up the steps. The old lady on crutches saw that he was stomping on the stairs, so she didn't dare to block the way, so she simply stood there. Go to the side and stand against the wall, waiting for him to pass first. After finally walking to the 5th floor, Chu Shenming looked like half an asthmatic. Why are there so many steps on the last floor? I knew the elevator would go up to the 4th floor and then go up. Daziashan was sweating from tossing, and just stepped on the corridor. His stomach became angry, a surge of true energy rushed, and he couldn't help but let out a pee. Fortunately, the place on the 5th floor is empty, incomparable with the lower floors. The departments of traditional Chinese medicine, physiotherapy, gynecology, and internal medicine are all bustling downstairs. Why is it so empty on the 5th floor? A sense of eerie terror swept over my heart. Lu Tian, are you cheating on me? Is the hospital ringing? Couldn't the 5th floor be a morgue? Would there be a morgue in a community hospital? Obviously, there is no one on the 5th floor, and there is no life at all. After struggling a bit at the stairs, Chu Shenming thought about it. Since he came here, he should take a look, and he was worthy of his health, otherwise he would be drowsy in the afternoon, which is not a solution. According to Lu Tian, when he reached the end of the corridor, he was suddenly bumped by a person from the left, who said, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. He lowered his head and kept saying sorry. No, Chu Shenming didn't mean to blame him by standing where he was, and that person said sorry 10 times more. It's okay, it doesn't hurt. The man raised his head, with long black hair scattered on both sides, a straight nose, peach blossoms in his eyes, and a small cherry mouth. No, it was Lu Tian. The nurse in front of him was wearing a white nurse's uniform, and there was a letter on the name tag on his chest. Red heart and a hand holding a heart. This pattern is really too bright on the white nurse uniform. What happened? A man's voice came from inside the door. Master, Master, I'm sorry, it's a new patient. Come in later, I have something to do now. Hearing this, Chu Shenming was overjoyed. This is really just what I want. White nurse uniforms are serious nurse uniforms. Of course, it is not impossible to see pink nurse uniforms in community hospitals. When I passed by the children's area on the second floor just now, I saw a few nurses wearing pink nurse uniforms taking care of the children. Perhaps because of taking care of the children, those nurses didn't wear any makeup at all, and their complexion was dull. Although their faces were passable, no matter how they looked at them, they looked a bit like mothers. Chu Shenming felt that he was not as kind and lovely as Lu Tiantian downstairs. But now, Lu Tiantian could no longer take the number one spot in the list of nurses in his heart, and this one in front of him was the number one beautiful nurse in the world. I'm sorry, you are Mr. Chu Shenming, the director has something to do now, maybe you have to wait for a while. Chu Sisi, what a coincidence, they are a family. Chu Shenming answered politely, yes, the pre-diagnosis desk downstairs asked me to come to the 5th floor to see a doctor. Then you wait here for a while. You reading www.yuyuganshu.com need a chair to sit on for a while? If necessary, I can bring you a chair. How can this bother Sisi to move the chair? She can't, but if she doesn't move the chair, won't she lose the opportunity to talk back and forth? Chu Shenming thought about it. Alas, I feel dizzy, I really need to sit down, or there is a place to lean on. A pair of gentle hands suddenly grabbed his shoulders, weak and boneless, as slender as willow sash. Sir, are you a little dizzy? Chu Shenming touched his forehead and nodded his head several times, his eyes really turned dark. What Chu Sisi thought in her heart was that the director is really good, she really guessed that the patient would have a dizzy reaction, and asked me to arrange him to sit for a while when I came out. You stand against the wall for a while, and I'll get you a chair. Chu Sisi looked at Chu Shenming tenderly, and helped him to the wall like a child. Come and go, it's in the lounge next door. Chu Shenming agreed, but his mind was full of Chu Sisi's image. These eyes are the eyes a nurse should have. If you take a look at them, you will be cured for the most part. Chu Sisi went to the lounge and moved a mahogany chair. The chair was a little heavy, and she dragged it to the corridor. This chair is made of mahogany. Seeing that Chu Sisi had come out, Chu Shenming hurried forward to the hero to save the beauty. Let me come, this mahogany chair is very heavy, if you knock on the knee or something, it will leave a big bruise. The girl has a bruise there. Doesn't green look good? Chu Sisi blushed, and handed the chair to Chu Shenming. Let your master take your time, I just take a break, don't worry, don't worry. It's director, director. Chu Shenming felt comfortable with these two calls from his master. The reason why Chu Shenming came to the hospital was that he had felt dizzy in the afternoon for the past few weeks, especially around 4 o'clock. If he continued to sit at his desk, he would be in danger of falling asleep at any time. Of course, this danger is not life-threatening, but the danger of resignation is approaching, like a tiptoeing kitten. Sleepy, in a trance in the afternoon. Let him come back tomorrow afternoon. Mu Chun said this lazily, and he was also lazily lying on the nap chair. Don't you need to take a look? What if you don't come tomorrow? Don't look, you do what I say, and he will definitely come again. Chu Sisi was dubious. In the past week, she felt that Mu Chun had changed. She had become very different from before. From a public point of view, Mu Chun is also her savior. What kind of girl is the most attractive to a man? What? Answer my question. Pretty, smart, cute. Let me put it another way, when is a woman most attractive? Teacher Mu, I don't understand. Stupid, I advise you not to do this business. The physical and mental department is not suitable for you. Why don't you go home and be a lawyer? No, I will definitely become the best physical and mental doctor. The law cannot save everyone. Hey, the law can't save everyone? Can we save people with our kind of psychosomatic department that can't even figure out the classification of symptoms? I don't know what's wrong with Mr. Mew, but I believe that everything you say makes sense. It's just that I'm not good at learning, and I will improve. Then answer and see, when is a woman most attractive? When a man likes her. Mew Chun felt uncomfortable lying down halfway, so he simply put his legs on the desk, feeling extremely impatient. This is the logic of studying law, you are not suitable to be a doctor. If I don't fit, I can become fit. If it doesn't fit, it doesn't fit. Mr. Mew, please tell me when a woman is the most attractive. Go and change into a nurse uniform, the white one with a red heart pattern on the chest. It is good. Don't ask why. The patient has already reached the 5th floor, I don't have time to ask more questions. Go ahead. If he thinks you are a nurse, you can be a nurse for him, and move a chair for him to sit on. According to the information sent by the pre-diagnosis desk, the patient may have a dizzy reaction. It's so serious, let him go up the stairs. Would you still listen to your nonsense if it's not serious? This was the conversation between a doctor named Mew Chun and another intern named Chu Sisi in the outpatient room of the Department of Psychology and Psychology when Chu Shenming walked to the 5th floor. Chu Shenming was sitting on the chair, and Chu Sisi was standing against the wall opposite him, looking at the closed door of the outpatient room from time to time. Chu Shenming looked at Chu Sisi's slender and clean neck, and felt like looking up at the statue of the Virgin in the church. An angel in white is really an apt description. If I find a nurse as my wife, my health will definitely be fine. Thinking of this, Chu Shenming felt a sudden tightness in his chest, as well as an overwhelming pain in his stomach. When will your master be okay? When asking this question, Chu Shenming suppressed the discomfort of wanting to go to the toilet and vomit. Seeing Chu Shenming's expression suddenly changed, Chu Sisi couldn't help feeling worried. This is the department of body and mind. Although it seems that body and mind are divided equally, whether it is internal medicine or surgery, Dr. Mew Chun is an amateur. In addition to his ordinary appearance, Dr. Mew is really perfect. But as a doctor, especially a psychosomatic doctor, it is a good thing to look plain. Closer to home, if Chu Shenming fainted suddenly or had some emergency situation, he had to be sent back to the internal medicine department, and the internal medicine doctors would have to laugh at that time. The status of the physical and mental department is already in jeopardy. If Mew Chun hadn't been in charge, the hospital might have cancelled the physical and mental department. Mew Chun relied on his own strength to make the community hospital pay attention to the physical and mental department, so that people can receive the treatment of the physical and mental department nearby. Although in the eyes of other doctors, the physical and mental department is not a serious department, so Mew Chun has to consider the bonuses of the doctors who also silently pay for the physical and mental department in primary hospitals, and work hard to improve the status of the physical and mental department. I'll go in and have a look, just wait a moment. Okay, please trouble Miss Chu. As soon as Chu Shenming said this, he wanted to slap himself in the face. Nurse Chu, nurse, what kind of lady is she? Now people don't know what they will think of him, maybe they think he is a dishonest man. When Chu Sisi opened the door and went in, she saw Mew Chun tilting his head and sleeping soundly. He even threw the patient at the door and fell asleep by himself. Just when I wanted to lose my temper and wake him up, I saw a yellow post-it note on the desk, which read, "Think about what I told you, don't wake me up." What did you say? By the way, find a way to get him to come back tomorrow. After all, there are patients, why do they have to come back tomorrow? Just tell the patient directly that the director has something to do, please come back tomorrow? Absolutely not, the result of this is that 99% of the patients never come back, and even if they want to go to the psychosomatic doctor again, they will change to another hospital. Dr. Mu is struggling with his bonus. Although his income is not bad, his ideal is too lofty. Chu Ceci thinks he understands Mu Chun's ideal. It is absolutely impossible to realize this ideal without a lot of money. Why bother with the bonus? Chu Ceci muttered, not daring to wake up the snoring Mu Chun. What should I do? The director is answering the emergency call. Chu Ceci squatted down. Yu reading www.yuyuganshu.com said worriedly. That's it, then I'll go back first. Wait a minute, the director has seen your situation from the pre-diagnosis desk. He was about to die. Chu Ceci squatted in front of him, the sweet smell of her voice wafted towards him, and the chest tightness just now disappeared immediately. Only the throbbing blood remained. Although he likes to look at beautiful girls, Chu Shenming hasn't had such an exciting feeling for a long time. He was full of strength, as if he had eaten a cup full of chocolate in front of a chocolate machine. Then I continue to wait for him? What emergency call? Emergency calls to psychosomatics are generally from patients who are about to commit suicide or are experiencing severe symptoms. Suicide. Chu Shenming's back felt cold, and he couldn't help shivering. Fortunately, he had never thought about committing suicide. Who would be so overwhelmed? The director asked if you haven't been sleeping well recently, and you often have chest tightness and weakness. Chu Shenming nodded, looking at Chu Ceci like a pupil looking at a female teacher. Does it matter? Is it a serious situation? Is it convenient for you to come here at this time tomorrow afternoon? There was almost pleading in Chu Ceci's eyes. Just go back like this? Chu Shenming was a little unhappy. He finally came out once, but he was going back? Tomorrow, I will reserve an hour for your outpatient clinic, and give you a comprehensive physical and mental examination. The cost can be covered by medical insurance. Do you think it is okay? Did you do it for me? Chu Shenming was embarrassed to refuse, but he would be happy if Chu Ceci gave him a comprehensive examination. He thought again, it would be great if his wife was a nurse like Chu Ceci. That's not good. Chu Ceci sat on the chair opposite Mu Chun. Mu Chun was still lying down, not even planning to sit up. Is your injury still not healed? The pain in the body is easy to heal, but the pain in the heart is hard to heal. Mu Chun actually didn't know what happened before he woke up, so every time Chu Ceci mentioned that matter, he could only avoid her concern with a cynical attitude. This woman is quite troublesome, and he can't offend her yet. Chu Ceci, who graduated from Zhejiang University with a major in law, is now a second-year graduate student, but she doesn't want to continue her studies at school, and she doesn't want to take the judicial examination, so she has to squeeze in this outpatient room on the 5th floor with Mu Chun. Psychologist. It is all thanks to her father, Chu Xiaofeng, to be able to change from a law major to an intern so willfully. At first glance, this name seems to have the temperament of a martial arts novel, but he is a well-known professor, doctor, and philanthropist in this world. Mu Chun didn't want to know these things at first, but when he woke up, Chu Ceci's lavender-scented hair almost covered Mu Chun's eyes. He had to rack his brains to recall exactly what had happened to him. Is it multiple personalities? His original personality disappeared? Or is multiple personality really a door to parallel universes? Mu Chun vaguely remembers that this research was first proposed by a Chinese science fiction writer in 2025, and then some experts in the field of physics and neurocognition became very interested in this idea, and even took this science fiction brain hole as a serious matter. After the research, when human beings' exploration of the universe is stagnant, the claims of brain universe, multiverse, parallel time and space, and even glacier universe are in urgent need of confirmation or disproving. If multiple personalities can prove the existence of multiple universes, it will be the opening ceremony of a romantic and rich cosmic material exchange. That's it, once the multiverse can be confirmed, the first question humans want to ask is whether the multiverse can realize material exchange. Mu Chun is not sure whether he is a patient with multiple personalities or whether he has verified the existence of multiple universes. If a part of consciousness is materialized, then it is indeed possible to transfer matter between different universes. This is something that Mu Chun can easily obtain with his own experience. A major discovery that won the Nobel Prize. It's a pity that after more than a week of research and repeated digging of himself, Mu Chun still knows very little. He is indeed on the Earth. In the night of this planet, there is indeed a moon hanging high in the sky. Which one is real and which one is false? Mu Chun didn't know, and neither did the scientific papers here. Nature had no answer, and global science had no relevant reports. Mu Chun searched the thesis database all over, but there was no research conclusion on multiverses and multiple personalities. Physical and mental diseases are still part of the hospital treatment system in this era and belong to the Department of Psychology and Psychology. Talking technology and psychotherapy have not yet appeared, and there are even no classifications and definitions for many mental illnesses, let alone a diagnosis and treatment system such as the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual of Mental Disorders. The most influential doctor in the field of physical and mental medicine is Chu Xiaofeng, Chu Ceci's biological father, a tenured professor at Jing'ai University, Mu Chun's graduate tutor, and Chu Ceci's mother's ex-husband. The trouble Mu Chun faces every day is that Chu Ceci's mother has kindly reminded her repeatedly that Chu Ceci is not sensible, so you should understand the truth. Make money as a lawyer or make money as a professor. Mu Chun wanted to say that being a professor is actually quite profitable, and it is better than being a community doctor. Chu Ceci absolutely cannot be a physical and mental doctor like her own father. Only the law can protect people's rights, not some inexplicable physical and mental treatment. Chu Ceci is a young and ignorant virgin who thinks that she can use her enthusiasm to help human beings live a life without pain. She wants to save those who don't need to be saved at all. This is caused by her superior life since she was a child. Mu Chun is different. Well, why did Mu Chun write the book? What is the purpose of being a doctor? To take care of your silly younger sister who is impossible to marry and your mother who is sick in bed. Chu Ceci's mother is named Zhang Mei. Ms. Zhang Mei has a proud figure. When she is full of aura, no one can avoid her edge. It is difficult for such a person to find an opponent in court, and it is also difficult to find a spouse in life. But she found it, and resolutely took her daughter to remarry her current husband, the head of a well-known law firm in the world, Will Chen and Chen Weiwei. After figuring out these things, Mu Chun just wanted to lie on the rest chair, and didn't want to look at Chu Ceci anymore. What does a graceful figure have to do with him? He just wants to live in peace, and don't fall into dizziness for no reason. If possible, he also wants to find out if he has fallen into another world, but it doesn't matter, because Chu Ceci doesn't give him free space at all. In the afternoon, the setting sun climbed up to the balcony on the 5th floor and shone on Mu Chun's face. The long summer was long, and the sun at 5 o'clock in the afternoon was always warm. If he does come tomorrow, how will we treat him? He. Chu Shenming, that's the patient you asked me to dismiss just now. Chu Ceci's face was covered with a layer of worry and doubt. Yu reading www.yuyuganshu.com. Mu Chun has seen enough of this expression. Didn't you already give sleep aids? If you sleep well, half of your illness will be cured. Ceci has done a good job. Prescribing medicine and checking up can increase your income and my income. Chu Ceci dismissed it, and raised her eyebrows lightly. Do you think I'm here for a salary? Most people work with mixed wages. There is nothing wrong with that. If there are more employees in a company who don't mix wages than mixed wages, the boss may suffer from physical and mental diseases because he is not used to it. The director said so. In Chu Ceci's mind, Mu Chun is gentle, kind, and well-educated. Although Mu Chun speaks a little strangely now, she still believes that is Mu Chun's special feature, and he always has a way to help patients. Let's talk about Chu Shenming's situation. The pre-diagnosis desk took advantage of the benefits to send patients to the physical and mental department. These nurses are getting more and more difficult to coax. There is only one patient in a whole day, but I gave each of them one this morning. There's a bottle of yogurt. I'll send them each a box tomorrow. Mu Chun thought to herself, really rich. I just said that you are not thoughtful enough to be a physical and mental doctor. Send a box of yogurt to Lu Tiantian and how will they get it? The goal is too obvious, who would dare to accept it? Then what to do? Just buy some lipsticks that you girls like and give them to them. When you put them in your pockets, no one can see them, but when you stretch out your hand to touch them, you think it's a gift from the Department of Psychology. Patients with colds, insomnia, and pimples, they were sent to the 5th floor. Should I ask the dean to move us to the 1st floor? Many patients are unwilling to go to the 5th floor. Moving to the 1st floor can help more patients, and the business will be better. Mu Chun sneered, the 1st floor? I really thought it was an injection room. At night again, Chu Shenming lay on the bed after dinner and watched anime. Before finishing an episode of Demon Slayer, Blade, his stomach growled and he ran to the toilet and squatted on the toilet. After a while, nothing happened. It's really bad luck. If I knew that going to the hospital didn't solve any problems, I might as well stay in the company and secretly watch American dramas. Anyway, the company leaders are not in the office at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, so he can be lazy. Speaking of which, he has also worked in this security technology company for 3 or 4 years, and he is also very familiar with the security products sold by the company, such as industrial security products, rubber gloves, fire alarms, and the number of alarms calculated according to the area of the factory building, etc. Wait, these procedural things are no longer a problem for Chu Shen. The channel customers in his hand are also very stable, and he doesn't need to run customers from scratch like a new salesman. He also worked so hard. In the past few years, he spent all day running customers outside, learning technology, and only thinking about becoming a technical salesman. Now the job is also considered stable, although the income is average, it is still passable. Chu Shenming really felt the so-called bottleneck period of 3 to 5 years after graduating from university. It is probably like this now. There is no hope for work. Let's just mess around. What is wasted is his own time, and there is no clearer way to work hard. Direction. Most people start thinking about marriage at this age, and he is no exception. His family is urging him to get married quickly, and the house is already being renovated. Both parents have met each other, and the girlfriend has been together since graduating from university. It has been many years, and the girlfriend is the first love. She was only 19 years old when she fell in love with Chu Shenming. Both parents are ordinary working class people. It's almost the same, even if the family is right. Li Xiaoxiao is also a nice person. Speaking of jobs, Chu Shenming's mother helped her find them, but the jobs are stable, and she doesn't spend too much money. The woman's parents think that the daughter should get married after being in love for so many years, and it's meaningless to procrastinate if she doesn't get married. Chu Shenming also felt that what would happen if he didn't get married? Xiao Xiao is not bad, although she looks average, really average, but maybe she just watched her for a long time. Men, no matter how good looking a girlfriend is, she will find it boring after watching it for a long time. Of course, you can't say this, and you can't think too much about it. Chu Shenming didn't think he was the kind of person who would see things differently and change his mind, and he couldn't escape what he was responsible for. The woman's parents took out 100,000 yuan and said it was for the decoration of the new house. Chu Shenming didn't want it at first, but his mother said, why not? It takes a lot of effort to live a long life. With a stable job and a wife, Chu Shenming shouldn't be dissatisfied logically, but when he was renovating the house and planning a whole set of marriage matters, Chu Shenming's health had problems. Insomnia, headaches, and recently my stomach has started to bloat. Lying down and watching anime, I can't watch an episode and feel sick to my stomach, and I have nothing to do when I go to the toilet. He bought himself some probiotics and took them according to the instructions, but it didn't work. I also bought some digestive medicine, but as a result, I got diarrhea after taking it. Once, the department manager asked him to temporarily help with receiving customers. In the time spent with a cup of coffee, he went to the toilet twice. The client was a purchaser with a proud face. At first Chu Shenming thought she was pretty good looking, but in less than 20 minutes, Chu Shenming left twice with an excuse. When he came back from the bathroom for the second time, the purchaser with a proud face disliked, as if there was something uncivilized about him. When it was 4 o'clock in the afternoon, exactly like the alarm clock, Chu Shenming began to feel dizzy and drowsy. His head was like an inflated light bulb, heavy and stuffy, and drinking coffee was useless. I was really worried about what kind of disease I had, so I searched Beidou with a mortal heart. The more I searched, the more frightened I became. Taking advantage of the manager's absence, he found a reason to sneak out. He originally wanted to visit a big hospital, but there were too many people queuing up for registration at the third level in the big city. Thinking of the crowded registration hall, his chest felt even more stuffy. Just on the way home from the company, there is a community hospital. The doctors in the community hospital are very good now. Why don't you go there first? It's the same everywhere. If you want to see a doctor in a big hospital in the future, the inspection report of the community hospital will not be wasted, and you can just take it to the big hospital for the doctor to see. Sure enough, community hospitals don't need to queue much, with bright outpatient halls and beautiful nurses. But the physical and mental department on the 5th floor is a bit unreliable. Do you want to go again tomorrow? It's not good if you don't go, it's not good if you have some illness and delay. Hey, it would be great if the wife is a nurse or a doctor. The supervisor's wife is the director of internal medicine in a large hospital. The supervisor looks very healthy and energetic. When he is tired. After much deliberation, he thought of Chu Ceci again, so he decided to take another look at such an eye-catching nurse, so that he would have to go to the hospital again tomorrow no matter what. After making up his mind, reading www.youcancha.com's stomach is still swollen, but it doesn't seem so unbearable anymore. Not going to the toilet once is not a big problem. Chu Shenming planned to do nothing at night, throw his cell phone in the living room, shut himself in the bedroom and not go out. His parents should think he was asleep when they came back, so they probably wouldn't ask any more questions. But what if the girlfriend does not reply to the message at night? The girlfriend will definitely send messages one after another. She is a very suspicious girl. Of course, Chu Shenming didn't think there was any problem with this matter at first. A man in love always thinks that a woman likes him when he is pestered by a woman, but after a long time, sometimes annoying. Send her a message first, saying that I am tired from work and go to bed first. Just do what you say, Xiao Xiao baby, I'm sleepy, I'll go to bed first today. If you send me a message and I don't reply in time, don't worry. Pressing send, poured a glass of water, took out the sleeping aid prescribed by the hospital, and swallowed it whole. Everything is ready, go to bed early today, and see if you can feel better tomorrow. Of course, it is impossible to expect sleeping pills to improve the disease. While you still have the courage, you can cure the disease overnight. Those serious illnesses can be troublesome. Lie down on the bed, staring at the chandelier on the ceiling with both eyes. It feels really good to lie down like this. I don't think about anything in my head, and I feel a little sleepy. Just fall asleep like this. Chu Shenming usually didn't go to bed until after 12 o'clock in the evening, but it was rare for him to go to bed after 8 o'clock today, which he himself found inconceivable. What's even more incredible is his girlfriend Xiao Xiao. Half an hour after Xiao Xiao received Chu Shenming's message, she felt that something was wrong. Chu Shenming must have something to hide from her, so she didn't reply to the message, but directly called Chu Shenming Shen's home landline. In Huayuanqiao Community Hospital, the floor of the physical and mental department on the 5th floor creaked. A woman in high heels is carrying an LV bag, followed by a young man who looks like he just graduated from college. The two walked into the office of the director of the physical and mental department, saying that the office is actually the outpatient room. Except for the administrative leaders, the outpatient rooms of other doctors in the hospital are offices. Mu Chun was losing his temper at a coffee machine that was in disrepair. What a broken machine, it's broken again. Mu Chun patted the coffee machine twice, as if doing so could silence the rumbling sound of the coffee machine. Instead, the coffee machine screamed even harder. The woman in the corridor stopped in fright. What kind of crappy place is this? Yeah, I also think that this place is too dilapidated. The coffee machine should have been replaced a long time ago. Last time, a foreigner came to see a doctor at his own expense. I wanted to put a cup of coffee for him, but I got stuck. All that came out was yellow water, not a single drop of coffee. Mu Chun preemptively complained. I haven't spoken yet, but you said it first. I haven't seen you talk so well before. Is it that you have become abnormal since you were sick last time? The woman's name is Zhang Mei, and she is a barrister. She specializes in divorce property cases. Simply put, she earns money from other people's divorce. She has everything a successful woman should have, and she has all the mean things a powerful woman should have. Point. Compared with Zhang Mei, Chu Sisi is not like her daughter at all. Chu Sisi is gentle and kind, even a little stupid. Strange, have all the machines in this hospital agreed to go on strike together? Are you handling machine strike cases? I want to sue these machines. Mu Chun, be more serious. I came to see you early in the morning not to see you lose your nerve. A lawyer can also diagnose neurosis. The man behind Zhang Mei couldn't help laughing out loud, but was choked back by Zhang Mei's cough. There is a problem with the registration system today. I didn't see any patients come up. How did you come here? Don't play dumb, we walked up 5 floors. Walking is good. Humans evolved into adults by walking upright. Otherwise, we would still be monkeys. Where does Chu Sisi usually sit and work? Oh, just sit here. Mu Chun patted his thigh. Nonsense, I don't care why Sisi insists on becoming a doctor with you, you are not allowed to have unreasonable thoughts about her, you know. Zhang Mei screamed angrily. There is only this table in this outpatient room. You take the patient's seat. If Sisi sees you, she can only sit in my seat. This seat is used by the two of us in turn. Zhang Mei breathed a sigh of relief. Mu Chun is also a well-known physical and mental doctor. She has excellent grades in college and is gentle and polite to others. She didn't dislike Sisi working as a doctor with Mu Chun. Let's play. Zhang Mei investigated Mu Chun's family. In Mu Chun's family, there was a mother who was ill in bed all year round, and a younger sister who couldn't leave the house. As for the illnesses of the two, Zhang Mei couldn't find out. I don't know why Chu Sisi is so obsessed with such a doctor. Although the doctor's income is good, Mu Chun's father, Mu Jiming, bought several properties for the family before his death. With the rent and the doctor's income, Mu Chun is not too much. She is poor, but such a family is not worthy of Chu Sisi. When Chu Sisi went home and told Zhang Mei that she was going to Huayuanqiao Community Hospital to be a doctor, Zhang Mei was afraid that her daughter had already developed feelings for Mu Chun. Become a physical and mental doctor like Mu Chun. My daughter is innocent, but she can't take this impulsive behavior as a trivial matter. Chu Sisi is the apple of her eye, and Chen Weiwei treats her as if she is her own. It is too unnecessary to find a boyfriend to spoil him. If Mu Chun's family background is better, such as a judge or a lawyer, even a businessman is fine, but there are two patients in the family, and he is a physical and mental doctor with no status in the hospital, so it seems a bit reluctant to fall in love. So she planned to let Mu Chun retreat in the face of difficulties. Unexpectedly, Mu Chun said that he had no interest in Chu Ceci at all, and never thought of falling in love with her. Jiang Mei doubted this, but she couldn't tell Chu Ceci that if her daughter became insane, it would be even more troublesome for the family. In this era, mental illness is a shame to see people, and no one wants to be regarded as a lunatic or has a brain problem. She came to Mu Chun to confirm and remind him not to have any extravagant thoughts about Ceci. Ceci is pure, she is not a cheap lamp. Coffee machine, I feel dizzy without coffee. Since you were sick last time, you are a little strange now. Really, it's mainly because I didn't drink coffee. Jiang Mei waved his hand, and the man behind him bowed to obey the order. I'm going to buy a new coffee machine in a while, not the one that grinds beans. This doctor is impatient with the coffee machine that grinds beans, so I bought him a capsule coffee machine. Okay, Lawyer Zhang. Yu reading www.yuyuganshu.com. The registration system is still not right today, and it hasn't shown that there are any patients in the Department of Psychology. None, it's strange, this month's bonus is not available. Who would come to see the physical and mental department? Taking medicine for sickness, surgery for serious illness, physical and mental treatment, I can't tell what scientific basis it has. Oh, yes, a problem that can be solved with a few cups of coffee. I have to go to the hospital, but the Department of Psychology and Psychology is still necessary. After all, there are still college students graduating from clinical psychosomatic majors one after another and going to the hospital to be doctors. Boring professional. Yeah, it's very boring. Let Chu Ceci go back to be a lawyer, and don't come here to compete with me for the lunch break chair. What? Jiang Mei's face turned pale and blue. I warned you not to have any further contact with Ceci. The lunch break chair is too small. If there is a bed in the office, I can close the door and sleep when there are no patients. Jiang Mei couldn't hold back his face anymore, and his calmness collapsed in an instant. This brat still wants a bed. Why Ceci is so obsessed with being with Mu Chun all day long? Mu Chun didn't know why Chu Ceci wanted to hang out with him. Fortunately, he was in the Department of Body and Mind. If he was in this multiverse, let's think so for the time being. He would get dizzy just thinking about things like removing the gallbladder or bypassing the heart. If it was really in surgery, he wouldn't be able to pretend for a minute. With Mu Chun's memory of knowledge reserves, this unattended physical and mental department seems to be able to handle it, because the patients who come here usually do not have serious physical diseases, not to mention that the only colleague, Chu Ceci, is even more layman than him, and is a law major. Student. Pretending to be the director is just going to mess around. Chu Shenming, who was startled by the ringing of the landline phone, curled up under the quilt as if he had seen a ghost, but he was sweating coldly in the August weather. The landline phone has not rang for a long time, and I always forget to go to the telecommunications company to remove the phone because my parents occasionally need to use it to talk to some elderly elders, lest they will not know the mobile phone number and call home. The phone in the living room rang repeatedly, and Chu Shenming couldn't ignore it at all. Hello. Chu Shenming finally picked up the microphone. Didn't you say you were asleep? Xiao Xiao? Why did you call home? I was worried that something was wrong with you going to bed so early, and I didn't see your reply after sending a message, so I called home directly to see if the efficiency is very high. Chu Shenming didn't know whether to laugh or cry, his stomach twitched, he could only talk while bending over, and his voice became weird. Oh, didn't you work overtime today? I worked overtime, and I didn't get home until after 8 o'clock. You don't even know how vicious Lu Xiaodong from the personnel department is today. This woman deliberately made things difficult for our customer service center during the meeting, saying that we had problems with attendance, and some people secretly left early, insinuating that they wanted to lower the price. Our quarterly performance bonus is really a woman who never does good things. Another customer complained today, saying that the customer service center did not report his situation to the technical department, which caused him to delay his work for a week and demanded compensation. I was so exhausted, I was going to do my nails at night, but now I'm not in the mood to do my nails. By the way, I almost forgot, the wedding expo will be next weekend. Have you booked tickets? Do you want to go to see if there is any good wedding experience? Do you think the Honest Op wedding is good, including beauty, fitness, reception and all planning and wedding photography? I think I can't make the decision on this matter alone, I have to discuss it with you. When I talked about wedding rings last time, I thought about going to Hong Kong, where there are more styles. I don't want everyone to have the same 1-carat diamond ring, making it look like everyone is married to the same man. After all, marriage is a big event. I can't do it alone. I also have to start choosing the rings on the wedding day. There are also things like engraved names. My mother said that engraved names are meaningless. As long as the pair of rings are used at the wedding, it doesn't matter whether they are true or not. What do you think? If you think it's okay to buy a pair of fake ones, anyway, as long as the photos look good, no one will come closer to see if they are real money. Hey, husband, are you listening? I'm listening, Xiao Xiao, it's up to you to decide. My stomach feels a little uncomfortable. I need to go to the bathroom. That's it, then take your phone and go to the bathroom, I'll tell you by voice. What Chu Shenming meant was that it was not an urgent matter, and it would be the same if he said it another day, but Xiao Xiao was eager to finish speaking in one breath, so he could only bear with his promise, hung up the phone, picked up his mobile phone and went straight to the bathroom. In less than a minute, the 5th message popped up on the WeChat page. In addition to the messages I hadn't read before, there were 31 message reminders next to Xiaoxiao's little raccoon profile picture. The number of words in each message is not many, it is nothing more than asking, "Are you asleep? What happened? Are you dating someone else? Are you really at home? You don't go to bed at 12 o'clock. Are you playing games? Why didn't you hear the phone? I called your home. You answer the phone instead." Satisfied, Xiao Xiao hung up the phone and stopped the message, and Chu Shenming went back to bed, but couldn't fall asleep anyway. My stomach swelled into a bulging ball, and when I pressed it with my hand, there was a gurgling sound of air flowing inside. If I had known earlier, I would have checked my gastrointestinal problems first. Maybe I have gastritis or gastric ulcer. It is said that it is normal for young people to have some stomach problems, and it can be resolved by taking a few pills. But what about chest tightness and dizziness? It seems that I will go to the hospital again tomorrow afternoon anyway. Standing up from his work position, he went to the toilet in the corridor first, and met Xiaodai, who was in the same department, smoking. The smell of smoke was accompanied by the smell of the toilet, and Chu Shenming felt like throwing up again. If it were a woman, she would probably think he was pregnant. Speaking of it, my symptoms are somewhat similar to those of pregnancy. Xiao Di pinched the cigarette butt, glanced at Chu Shenming. "Brother, why do you look so bad? Did you get scolded by the supervisor? Meddle in other people's business, really which pot is not opened and which pot to carry?" After being told by Xiao Di, Chu Shenming became more and more worried about his health. Young people can't afford to be sick, the old and the young have dogs, and they have to take care of everything. The most important thing is how embarrassing it is to be sick. My classmates don't know what to say about him. They take it as a negative teaching material, saying that the work is too hard, and it's okay to work overtime and stay up all night and finally get sick. Most of them will say that the money is not earned, and they are still gnawing on the old. Marriage is bought with parents' money. House, and got seriously ill before getting married. It must be embarrassing for the parents. The son has nothing to be proud of. He barely graduated from college and has a stable job. If he has a serious illness, he is really ashamed to let others know. Yuuganshu.com relatives don't know what they will think of them. Thinking of this, Chu Shenming felt like there was a huge grenade about to explode in his stomach. He really wished he could make a hole in his stomach and put all the air in it like a bicycle tire with nails stuck in it. No, I still have to find a reason to go to the hospital in the afternoon. There is an electrical appliance company along the road of Huayuan Kiao Hospital. Shenmei Electric is a customer of Chu Shenming. Fill out a travel form and say to visit the customer. Visit the customer at 4 o'clock. It is normal to not be able to return to the company at 6 o'clock, and the supervisor will not care about this kind of thing. After all, he didn't offend him usually. Since he married a doctor, that guy has focused on health preservation and won't be too harsh on his subordinates. After making up his mind, his body became more comfortable, and he couldn't pull out anything. After putting on his trousers, Chu Shenming still took a shower. Hearing the sound of water trembling, he felt that he had completed one thing in his heart. For lunch, I ate a piece of bread and a bowl of salad. I thought that a light diet would improve my stomach, but now it seems that I am self-righteous, and I probably have some disease. Back on the seat, Xiao Xiao sent a picture of the ring. Does it look good? This is very cheap, only 18,700, I think it looks pretty good, do you want to ask your mother? Rings, rings, wedding photos, wedding photos. Chu Shenming wanted to vomit again, so he quickly grabbed the teacup and swallowed a mouthful of coffee, only to swallow the nausea. A few hours after lunch, Chu Shenming couldn't do anything. He looked at the fund a few times. Not only did he not make any money, he seemed to have lost a little bit. The stock market has not been good these days, so the fund is hopeless. He casually returned a few messages to Xiao Xiao, but fortunately Xiao Xiao didn't notice that he was absent-minded. If there is any illness, it is better to tell Xiao Xiao early, don't kill your husband right after you get married. There were no patients during the day, so Mu Chun learned about the development history of the physical and mental department in this era, and was surprised to find that there is no psychology, no behavior therapy, and cognitive therapy and psychotherapy cannot be searched on the internet as keywords. Depression, bipolar disorder, panic attack, anxiety disorder, body perception disorder, etc., these vivid words in Mu Chun's mind were unexpectedly not found on the internet. Mu Chun didn't know why he knew these words. In his investigation, none of the diseases he was familiar with had corresponding names, and the only things he could find were physical and mental illnesses or mental illnesses. Diseases that cannot be diagnosed with clinical medicine are called psychosomatic syndromes or mental illnesses in this era. In folk and literary works, this kind of illness is more described as a neurosis, something wrong with the brain, or bewitched by evil spirits. In the academic field, the inquiry into psychosomatic diseases only reached the period of Freud and his psychoanalysis. Behaviorism has not been mentioned in any literature. In short, apart from psychoanalysis, psychology here is still in a blank stage. I am afraid that even Jung has not yet appeared. The analysis of dreams and the influence of childhood shadows on the later growth of individuals are regarded as the standard by psychosomatic doctors, and there are only a handful of doctors who can use part of past experience analysis and talk therapy in outpatient clinics. Chu Xiaofeng is a leader in this field. He established a non-governmental organization called Association of Physical and Physical Therapists, advocating that physical and mental treatment other than medical diagnosis should be widely valued and included as part of medical insurance. The president of this association is Chu Xiaofeng, and the vice president is Mu Chun. So that's how it is. What are you talking about? Zhang Mei asked angrily. Did you go to the 5th floor just now? Didn't you take the elevator? Zhang Mei raised her chin in disdain. Joke, there is a piece of A4 paper pasted next to the elevator in the outpatient hall. Black arrow. Sure enough, Chu Sisi has gained weight recently. What? My daughter is fat, so what's the matter? How can she be fat at such an age? no extra weight is allowed, Chu Cixi is going to marry into a wealthy family. That paper, I have told them many times, it should be written that the elevator only goes to the 4th floor. Jiang Mei was quiet for half a minute, then sighed. That's right, the doctor's logic is really poor, not to mention that most of these things are handled by nurses or administrative staff. The elevator only goes to the 4th floor and the elevator does not reach the 5th floor. It seems that it is almost a logical trap. Mu Chun showed adoring eyes. As expected of a lawyer. The analysis is too thorough, it hits the nail on the head. Don't flatter me here, there is an empty space over there, it's just right to put a treadmill. Jiang Mei looked at the corner of the wall, where there was a floor-standing flower pot with a diameter of 40 centimeters. In the flower pot, there were vigorous growing pothos, green leaves, and a black flower pot, which was placed in the corner very inconspicuously. On weekdays, neither water nor insects are removed, and the branches and leaves are still blooming, full of vitality. The newly grown leaves have the same idea of building a wall like a creeper, and it is not ugly to climb up. Jiang Mei quickly shook his index finger, and the man behind him bowed his ears. Leave me alone. Yes, Lawyer Jiang. Buy a treadmill, and ask for the best one. It will be delivered within 2 hours, and someone will adjust it to make sure it can be used immediately. You can go to the rowing machine again. If you don't know how to choose, go to the affairs department to ask someone for help. The affairs department, my colleagues are very knowledgeable about fitness. The man took out his notebook and wrote it down. It was uncomfortable to write while standing, but he seemed to be able to remember it easily. The picture was somewhat similar to the deacon in the anime. With a sickly face, pale and colorless skin, and empty eyes, hiding behind dark blue metal-rimmed glasses, his thin body stood in a vertical line. Take note of it. Yes, Lawyer Jiang. It's good to use a notebook, but it's best to use your brain. Jiang Mei stood up, her very stiletto shoes making the sound of a marimba. It's not unpleasant or harsh, but I'm worried that the plastic floor covering can't stand this kind of music, and it will make holes. Ah, I have money. Why are you rich? Jiang Mei asked curiously. Wait a minute, and a patient came up immediately. The pre-diagnosis desk said he was a fat man, and he weighed 250 pounds. The nurses at the pre-diagnosis desk were getting worse and worse. How could it be possible for a 250-pound person? I only saw it in the video. Yes, have you seen it? You two sit here for a few more minutes and wait for the patients to come and line up. It seems that there are a lot of outpatients here. Mu Chun stared at the computer screen, blue light flickered on his face. Jiang Mei's stomach pulled out once, and then again. I'm sick. Jiang Mei walked out of the outpatient room quickly. Take care of your business quickly, useless newcomer. Yes, I understand, Lawyer Jiang. He wanted to leave the office quickly, but his shoes couldn't walk fast, and Yu reading www.yuyuganshu.com. Mu Chun's voice didn't know how to restrain himself. Jiang Mei really wanted to build a new elevator for these 5 floors. I don't know how a person who weighs 250 pounds can walk up to the 5th floor. He won't be paralyzed when he reaches the 2nd floor. That's terrible. Who can move him? I really want to see him, it's so strange. Let's go to the 4th floor and take the elevator. What kind of broken place, what kind of patients, poor and chaotic, not even an elevator. Cixi is such a stupid girl, she was spoiled since she was a child, give her whatever she wants. They say that daughters need to be rich, but they are raised instead with such a great doctrine. I really wish to cut off her pocket money, but this will greatly affect her quality of life, and she cannot afford expensive skincare products or cheap ready-made clothes. No, 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 absolutely not. Jiang Mei pursed her lips and walked faster and faster. I can't imagine those cheap ready-made clothes, which are not tailored according to the proportion of the individual body, are produced in a unified manner in the factory, and the materials are cheap. Wouldn't it be a waste of Ceci's good figure to wear them on Ceci's body? What a worrying daughter. The only good news is this Mu Chun, who used to be serious, with a scholarly air all over her body. She had a 2-week rest from the last illness, but now her personality is different from before. It seems that he is greedy for petty gain. This is a good thing, just satisfy his requirements, coffee machine, treadmill, as long as Mu Chun doesn't have any unreasonable thoughts about Ceci. In time, her daughter has suffered a lot in this crappy place, and she can't live independently, so naturally he changed his mind and went back with her. What kind of psychosomatic doctor? Inexplicable. Treating people is not what a young lady of her worth should do. Working in a law firm for 2 years, gaining some qualifications, and then finding a young man of the right family to travel around the world and fall in love, this is the life Chu Ceci should have. At 4 o'clock in the afternoon, stepping on the sycamore leaves that fell on the ground, enduring the pain in his stomach, Chu Shenming came to Huayuanqiao Hospital in a state of embarrassment. I made an appointment with the doctor yesterday and said that I will come for a follow-up visit today. In fact, there is no prescribed process for follow-up visits, and there is no need to say hello to the pre-diagnosis desk. A doctor's appointment? What doctor? Chu Shenming rubbed his head, didn't remember the name, and didn't see the director at all. How about saying Chu Ceci's name? But Chu Ceci is a nurse, so it seems inappropriate to say Chu Ceci in front of Lu Tiantian. Chu Shenming hesitated and didn't know what to say, and Li Xiaomei was a little impatient. Since you have made an appointment with the doctor, you can go by yourself after registering the number. What are you doing at the pre-diagnosis counter? The latter sentence was very quiet. Chu Shenming also heard it. Li Xiaomei turned sideways and said, "Such an adult can't even see a doctor." As expected, the nurse was more beautiful and more gentle. Chu Shenming silently clicked his tongue and said something to Lu Tiantian, "Oh, excuse me." Before Lu Tiantian could open his mouth, he ran away quickly. I walked up to the second floor in one breath, but I didn't even feel panting. When he reached the 5th floor, the gloomy and uneasy feeling came again. Just like yesterday, the environment on the 5th floor made Chu Shenming very uncomfortable. What of a place! This time, the door of the outpatient room was opened, and a man of medium build and appearance was seen wearing a white coat with none of the buttons buttoned up, revealing a short-sleeved sweatshirt and a pair of sports shorts, which were worn by people running at night on the road. The style is almost the same. Decathlon's brand is printed on the short sleeves. This short sleeve is estimated to be a bargain at 19 yuan. Chu Shenming, who often has to go to clients, would not dare to dress like this to go to work in the company. If he happened to be visiting a client or had a client come to his door that day, he would directly deduct a lot of points and risk losing the sale if he dressed so cheaply and casually. A single belt costs thousands of yuan. Although the short-sleeved shirt is a discounted non-seasonal new style, it costs more than 800 yuan. Pants are cheaper, and they can be bought at a discounted price of 398. As for shoes, a casual pair of leather shoes for work costs 800 yuan. Fortunately, there is no need to buy new clothes every month, which saves a lot of money compared to female employees. The jacket is not bad. I bought it at a discount. When Mu Chun said it casually, Chu Shenming's face turned red up to his neck. Are you the director? My name is Mu Chun. Dr. Mu, I came here yesterday, and the nurse said you were at work, so let me come back today. Ceci, Ceci. Chu Ceci, who came over after hearing the sound, was wearing a pink nurse uniform with a stethoscope hanging on her chest, which looked like a well-matched necklace. Is this the nurse? Yes. Chu Shenming was a little embarrassed, his tongue was tied and he didn't know how to speak. When he met Chu Ceci for the first time yesterday, he was able to cope with it freely, talking and laughing, but today in front of Mu Chun, he suddenly felt embarrassed, as if his thoughts yesterday had been seen through by the director in front of him. You came on time. Chu Ceci said. A tingling sound. Let's check first. Mu Chun suggested. Okay, take off your shoes. Chu Sisi walked up to Chu Shenming gently, and squatted down suddenly. What are you going to do? Chu Shenming was nervous and at a loss. He has been like this since he was a child. To put it in a vulgar way, he has a wicked heart but no guts. If you want to talk about a beautiful heart, Chu Shenming certainly has it, and he doesn't deny it, man. But it's just thinking about it. If you want to talk about why, it's a little bit, especially after dating Xiao Xiao for a long time. I always feel that other girls are very good, there are so many good girls. Just check here. Why do you take off your shoes? Chu Sisi stood up, and her blood-red high-heeled shoes took 2 steps back, revealing a treadmill behind her. Go for a run. Running. What kind of inspection is this? Running? Make the patient run? Nurse, it's not that I don't want to check, I came here for the checkup today, and I agreed with you yesterday, but I'm taking off my shoes and running. The treadmill is newly bought. The hospital has insufficient funds. Wearing shoes is easy to get dirty. The cleaning lady is rarely willing to go to the 5th floor to clean it. Do me a favor. Take off your shoes and clean them. You won't have smelly feet. When Mu Chun said this in front of Chu Sisi, no matter how much Chu Shenming explained, it seemed that he was trying to cover up, and the only way to get back the lost cover was to prove that he didn't have foot odor. This director is really unlikable. Sure enough, there is no foot odor. Then I can take it off just now. Why don't you want to take off your shoes? It's so uncomfortable to wear shoes. Does this director not wear shoes at work? Chu Shenming took a look under the table while taking off his shoes. The director was indeed wearing a pair of flip-flops with his bare feet. Don't doctors need to wear shoes? I don't know what Chu Sisi would look like if she took off her shoes, but today she is wearing skin color stockings, if Chu Sisi doesn't wear shoes. Unable to control the magical power of Yi, Chu Shenming secretly glanced at Chu Sisi's ankle again. After running for 5 minutes, Chu Shenming was out of breath, wishing he could get off the treadmill immediately. Reading www.yuyuganshu.com asked Mu Chun to give him the reclining chair to lie down for a while. Can't you run so fast? It's been a long time since I exercised. Chu Sisi's eyes changed from the gentleness before, only contempt and suspicion remained. What kind of look is this? I am a patient. It is normal for me to not be able to run. I only came to the hospital when I have a condition. After barely running for another 10 minutes, it seemed that it was not as unbearable as before. His stomach was still rumbling and uncomfortable. He wanted to go to the bathroom, but he was afraid of disappointing Chu Sisi, and he didn't know how much time he needed to run. Seeing a doctor like this is really useless. Doctor, what's wrong with me? Chu Shenming, who was sweating profusely after running for 35 minutes, sat in front of Mu Chun and asked about his condition. Sisi, take your blood pressure and auscultate. By tender and soft fingers touched Chu Shenming's chest through the sweat. The fragrant body is less than half an arm away from him. Chu Shenming only felt the warmth in his abdomen. The overwhelming feeling before was replaced by this warm and powerful feeling. This feeling is much better. How do you feel now? Mu Chun asked casually. It's not bad, but I was very uncomfortable a few days ago. I felt bloated after eating, and my stomach was always uncomfortable. I didn't have anything when I went to the toilet. Have you heard of Story of the Gut? No, what's that? A novel. A picture book for children. Chu Shenming was confused by Mu Chun's words. How could it become a children's picture book again? There are a lot of workers in the intestines. When these workers are happy, you can't feel their existence. When they are unhappy, you can't ignore them. Do you want to think about what has made them unhappy recently? For example, something to force them. Forcing them? My diet is fairly regular and light. Is there something they don't want to do that they have to do, and they go on strike? Strike? Yes, it's a strike. If you don't do digestion work, you will feel bloated. If they don't go to the company every day, then the company's business will stop, which is what it means to strike. Everyone performs their own duties and does their own work well, so that the entire company can run normally. If a few people suddenly stop coming, then the running machine will have problems or even stop working. It's like the circuit problem in junior high physics, open circuit or short circuit. Mu Chun scribbled on a piece of printing paper with a pen, and then pushed it in front of Chu Shenming. Let's imagine. What? Your stomach. Chu Shenming seemed to understand a little bit. He realized that he hadn't put on his shirt yet, and was sitting under the air conditioner with his shirt on. I sweated a lot just now, and when the air conditioner blows on it, I might have diarrhea or something. Thinking of this, my stomach hurts immediately. Oops, a little cold sweat. Chu Ceci gently put a thin blanket on him. The blanket did not look like a hospital blanket, but a Givenchy shawl with a silver grey logo printed on it. OMG, did Chu Ceci give him her own shawl? A burst of pride welled up spontaneously, and Chu Shenming looked at Mu Chun proudly, and Mu Chun's ordinary face really showed ordinary envy. Chu Shenming sat up straighter, and his stomach became lighter. Then run more, don't let the stomach stop working, and you can solve the current problem. Chu Shenming nodded. But it's not right, doctor, I still can't sleep well, and I'm still a little dizzy in the afternoon. Didn't you give me sleeping pills? Is there any problem? Mu Chun's voice was a little harsh. This is the case in public hospitals, and the attitude of doctors should not be too high. Is it really about the strike? The director has already said that it's just a strike, nothing to do. Come back tomorrow. What? Chu Shenming heard it right, and Mu Chun asked him to come again tomorrow. Doctor, I have to work. Oh, the work is more important than the body. Of course the body is important. Not everyone can really understand this truth. Of course, work is important. If you lose your job, your life will fall into complete chaos. Life is chaotic, unimaginable. Come here as much as you can. If you can't come every day, you can come back on Friday, but you must take sleep aids. I will give you abdominal palpation after running tomorrow. Abdomen, palpation? Just touch the stomach? Chu Shenming's pupils were slightly on fire. OMG! The next patient has come up. Mu Chun said this to Chu Ceci. Chu Shenming wisely took off the blanket and put on his coat. Did you not register when you came up? Mu Chun complained to the computer. Chu Shenming is very familiar with this tone. With years of practical experience in dealing with customers, Chu Shenming is very good at observing other people's emotions, sometimes even to a predictable level. The pre-diagnosis desk said that if you make an appointment with the doctor for a follow-up visit, you don't need to tell them, just go to the doctor directly. Which person at the pre-diagnosis desk said that? Chu Shenming just wanted to talk about Lu Tiantian, but the hero's desire to protect the beauty suppressed his words. It's really uncomfortable, I can just say what to say. Nurse? Thank you, blanket. Forget it, after all, Nurse Chu's pink outfit and red high-heeled shoes are already worth the trip, and her personal shawl is completely worth the price of admission. As for whether to come tomorrow, just promise it first, it seems to be troublesome to refuse others, if you really don't want to come, just don't come. Anyway, it sounds like I'm not sick. It's been almost an hour, not only did I not feel dizzy, but my spirit is much better now, and my stomach is not uncomfortable. Probably not a serious illness, just scaring myself. Chu Ceci changed out of her nurse uniform, picked up a white coat and put it on her body, frowning, she walked in front of Mu Chun. Why am I dressed like this? I'm a doctor, not a nurse. The condition requires it. You didn't even ask him what symptoms he had. Shouldn't you actively listen to the patient and try to understand the symptoms as clearly as possible? Active listening? Where did you get that word? Mu Chun was not impatient, but his attitude was not kind either. Your book. Chu Ceci shook her head and decided not to talk about it. Mu Chun has changed, maybe temporarily, maybe he is trying new treatment methods. He is always trying tirelessly and continuing to explore instead of sticking to the same existing treatment methods. This is where he is charming. Now, it's not kind to be blamed for his merits. What's wrong with this guy? There are no simple problems, and they are not as complicated as you think. But there must be a disease. Chu Ceci was a little anxious. If you want to clarify things, you should go back to your father and mother. Everything in the code is clear. You reading www.yuyuganshu.com. Don't try to drive me back. I will not go back to be a lawyer. I have made up my mind and will not change. Then you can go back and find your biological father. He is an authority in the physical and mental sciences. I'm just the most ordinary of his many students. You are not ordinary, you are the best. Mu Chun didn't know what Chu Ceci meant by excellence. It can be easier for a person to deal with the work of the physical and mental department, but this Chu Ceci insists on working here, and never rests in the morning from Monday to Saturday. Although she is late occasionally, she can be evaluated from the perspective of heart and seriousness. He is indeed a diligent and studious little doctor. But I don't have anything to teach her. Not to mention that Mu Chun also thinks that the legal major should go back to be a lawyer or a judge. Why come here to be a doctor and waste years of study in vain? Teacher, tell me why I am treated like this today, why I don't need to ask about the symptoms in detail. Sickness cannot be obtained by asking. What is that? Mu Chun originally wanted to use some ambiguous words to prevaricate Chu Ceci. Generally, smart students would try to understand the teacher's words, because it is a good thing to be ashamed to ask, but it is also a shameful thing. If your question is superficial, wouldn't it be embarrassing? Therefore, most people will pretend to understand what they don't know, and they won't get to the bottom of it. But Chu Ceci was stubborn, which really made Mu Chun uncomfortable. Can we still work together? It's really uncomfortable to have more people looking at me every day. Find a way to set the rules. See with your heart, see with your eyes, don't ask everything. Chu Ceci seemed to understand something, the two blushes on her cheeks were very touching. Mu Chun took off his white coat, put on sneakers, and stepped on the treadmill. The matter of going to Shenmei to meet the client seems to have aroused the suspicion of the supervisor, because Shenmei's procurement actually called the company's landline. In the past few days, Chu Shenming felt that he had clashed with the landline. First, Xiao Xiao called home and made him unable to sleep, and then Shenmei's purchaser called the office. It seemed that they had changed to a new purchaser, and the original Eddie might have switched jobs. The leak in the house happened to be raining all night, which is probably his current situation. During the meeting, the supervisor notified Chu Shenming that he was going to visit customers in Anji on Saturday. What kind of customers want to visit on business trips on Saturdays and Sundays? Chu Shenming wanted to complain, but the director's eyes clearly indicated that he should know in his heart, shouldn't he make some compensation for sneaking out of the company and behave well? No one wants to go to work in other places in such a hot season in August, but someone must go. Xiao Di is still young, and he belongs to the sales department at the right age. He hasn't married yet, and there are no important things on weekends. That's what the supervisor thinks. What kind of weird logic is that you can't see that your subordinates have the slightest spare time, and if you don't squeeze them into oil, you feel that your wages are paid for nothing? There's no other way, either don't work in the company, or accept this kind of capital rules. Why didn't Chu Shenming learn any skills since he was a child? Sometimes he would think that if he could be a carpenter, draw, program or play a musical instrument, he would not have to work from 9 to 6, and would be free to teach children how to play the piano to earn some lessons. Such a life is at least free. Chu Shenming agreed, and Angie was on a business trip on Saturday. Drinking and socializing was unavoidable. Chu Shenming began to worry that his stomach would collapse during the business trip. Hey, Xiao Di, do you know who is in charge of business trips on the administrative side? Old Chu, I don't know. I've never been on a business trip. I guess it's because I booked the air ticket by myself and finally asked the administration for reimbursement. In this case, then choose the train to go to Anji. From Shanghai, take the high-speed rail to Huzhu, and then take the bus to Anji. After all, the train is more spacious and you don't need to squeeze on the long-distance bus. Although from the navigation point of view, it's best to go to Anji by car. Convenient, just over an hour's drive away. But what if the stomach is bloated on the bus and the toilet cannot be found? I can't tell others about these things, so I'd better ask Mu Chun from the Department of Psychology and Psychology. Although he looks a little weird, his slovenly appearance is quite comfortable. I see a lot of well-dressed company employees on weekdays, but it is rare to see a doctor dressed casually like Mu Chun. Chu Shenming couldn't help laughing. He went to work in slippers and wore decathlon sports shorts. The whole body probably cost 50 yuan. The salary of a doctor is not low, and this Mu Chun is a bit interesting. Considering that he might be asked to run or something, Chu Shenming decided to dress casually this time, and took out the sportswear he wore when he played badminton at home. They were all Yonex equipment, so it shouldn't be embarrassing to wear them. Thinking of this, Chu Shenming couldn't wait to go home and turn out the clothes to see if they fit. The work on Thursday was not difficult to deal with. I made a few casual calls to customers, sorted out the product list, and sat in my seat to secretly watch the game video without sound. It's still very comfortable to hang out. It's just the income. I'm too embarrassed to say it, and it's not much worse. Now it's the same everywhere. It's not easy to make a lot of money. At 3 o'clock in the afternoon, Chu Shenming began to worry that he would enter a state of dizziness in an hour. He prepared Red Bull and coffee in advance, and took a piece of dark chocolate imported from Germany from the refrigerator. I had no choice but to disassemble it and rinse it in the toilet before separating the chocolate from the wrapper and throwing the wrapper into the dry trash. Xiao Di and his colleagues from another department happened to be smoking in the aisle outside the toilet. Chu Shenming was in a panic because he was afraid that the two of them would see him cleaning the chocolate packaging bags. Hey! Garbage sorting is such a headache. At 3:30, Chu Shenming drank a can of Red Bull. At 3:50, he went to the garden downstairs of the company for a walk, and watched a few funny videos on TikTok. At 3:58, he pretended to skip rope in place, of course, without the rope in your hands. At 4 o'clock, I didn't feel dizzy. The expected dizziness didn't happen, but my heart was beating hard. Chu Shenming guessed that it might be because of rope skipping. He jogged around the garden again, feeling much better in his heart. I haven't run well for a year or two, and I want to go home and play games after get off work. When I just graduated from university, I would play badminton with my old classmates on weekends. The group is also lively. There are always people organizing hiking in the nearby mountains, badminton competitions, or run or something. 2 years ago, Chu Shenming also participated in the Riverside Night Running Group, and bought a pair of Nike running shoes specially for this purpose, costing more than 1,000 yuan, and then put them on the top of the cabinet to accumulate dust after not wearing them twice. If you want to run again, you may need to buy a new pair of running shoes. After all, these shoes are out of date. Chu Shenming had a sudden whim and wanted to ask if there was anyone playing badminton in the group. Thinking of being in Anji on weekends, he put back the cell phone he had taken out. Running and thinking about my thoughts, I ran for 15 minutes unknowingly, and I was not as out of breath as I was on the treadmill yesterday. Reading www.yuyugonshu.com. It seems that my physical strength is still easy to recover. The most important thing was that it was almost 4:30, and he didn't feel dizzy yet, but he felt a little uncomfortable in his stomach, as if he was going to have diarrhea, or something was blocking him. Xiao Xiao sent a picture, which was the ticket for the wedding fair. Chu Shenming was a little dizzy standing there. How could he forget about the wedding expo? I have to go on a business trip on weekends, and I haven't been on a business trip for 2 or 3 years. This reason is a bit abnormal, but it is the truth. How should I tell Xiao Xiao? If you don't reply to the message, maybe you will call after a while. Thinking about it, my stomach became more and more uncomfortable, and I broke out in a cold sweat when the elevator went upstairs. What's going on? Did you run secretly? Mu Chun looked a little unhappy. Since you can run at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, why don't you see a doctor? Hearing what Mu Chun said, Chu Shenming was a little nervous. After all, he has been to the physical and mental department twice so far, and he has never heard the word sickness from a doctor so formally. Could it be that he is really sick? Thinking about it, I'm really stupid. I have so clear gastrointestinal problems. Why don't I go for a gastroscopy, colonoscopy, or something like what Beta said, so that I can get rid of the disease early? But I believed the nonsense of the pre-diagnosis desk. Why did I come to the physical and mental department? And now I'm fine. I came here twice, but in the end I still said I was sick, and I might have to start all over again. If you are sick, you can't take chances. Netizens are all talking from experience. Doctor? What's wrong with me? Isn't it because I can't sleep well, and my stomach is disturbed? Do you often want to fart, like a balloon in your stomach? Chu Shenming was a little embarrassed, and took a sneak peek at Chu Sisi, as if she hadn't heard it, and there was no expression on her face.